Hey there guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. This is my quick review of Hamilton. Do make sure to like, subscribe, and enjoy. Written and created by Lin-Manuel Miranda, Hamilton is the greatest piece of art to grace our canvas of entertainment within the last 20 years. This is not going to be an in-depth review of the piece, but if you do want to take a look at some of the reasons why I believe Hamilton is the greatest musical of all time, be sure to check this video out by Make Stuff. They really take a look into some of the core reasons behind the motifs and the themes in the film. And I'm going to be taking a look at the very rudimentary aspects of the film that I found to be pleasing, that I found to be appealing, and that I found to be interesting. So I think we're going to start off with the almost performances like. The interesting thing about musicals is that you shouldn't only look at them as films, but you should look at them as music pieces. And when looking at the performances, the major thing to look at is the acting, of course, but how does that tie into the singing, and what is the singing like? And what you quickly realize is that the singing is adjusted and tempered depending on the scene. You'll find that an actor sings very loud, like almost belting their soul out in a certain song, and then another song they're just talking, which is interesting because they could be giving it all. They could be showing off the length and the extent of their voice, their vocal cords, but they choose not to. They choose to hold it back, and that in part is due to Lin-Manuel Miranda's excellent direction. I know he's not the director on most plays, but he does give the direction, seeing as he wrote the dang play. And beyond that, the singing is fantastic. The acting is stellar. You'd think a musical would go over the top, but no, they hold back in a lot of scenes. There's a spoken word opening number, the famous ones, and what you quickly realize is that the actor who opens that spoken word, I can't remember his name right now, he could be belting his soul out, but he chooses to not do that. He chooses to just talk. And later on in the play, he does belt his voice out, which is interesting because you'd think that holding back would be less interesting, but it's more interesting because you're waiting on his every word. And all in all, every actor is just brilliant. I don't think there was a single weak spot in the film in terms of performances, and that just seems to be the common consensus. Now, this kind of almost gives me hope when I mention that my next positive is to do with the motifs and the themes in Hamilton. It's not often that you find that a play or a movie really prioritizes the motifs, and they tend to focus on rudimentary emotions and themes, but motifs are generally left behind. And to quickly distinguish a motif from a theme, a motif comes back later in the story. A motif can be changed. A motif can be re-identified. A theme is simply what an item represents. For example, what does dirt represent in a movie? Dirt could represent the dryness and the almost barrenness of land. But a motif is much deeper. A motif could look at the theme and say,
it's all
how
subjective.
can I grab that theme and then flip it later to represent something else? So it could represent the barrenness of land, but later could represent, or could almost be a metaphor for the barrenness of human beings. Maybe human beings have lost the seed and aren't able to reproduce anymore.
take Children of Men. Children of Men does this exact same motif. And in Hamilton, there are too many motifs to count. So again, I linked a video earlier in the video. Please watch that video. It explains the motifs and the themes in Hamilton much better than I could ever do myself. Now, if we're being real, this is a musical. And you'd expect that a musical would have good music. So, how is the music? If I was to be able to put in words the incredible nature of the music displayed in Hamilton, I would be here for years upon years and would still not find the right words to describe how I feel about the music in Hamilton. Right from the start, the show opens up with a perfect song to open up with, Alexander Hamilton. And the first few words display a level of intricate writing that seems almost forgotten, for lack of a better word, in current pop culture, speaking about music and movies to be specific. Lin-Manuel Miranda writes this music so intricately that you couldn't rewrite it any other way. When a song or a piece of writing is perfect as is and could not be changed, and no changes would improve it, and you can't think of any improvements, you know they've hit a peak where they are above the game. There is nothing rudimentary, and I keep using this word again and again because the word rudimentary really does describe current culture in terms of films, music, and just pop culture in general. This is extraordinary. It's splendid. It's great. These are words that have lost their meaning, but shouldn't. I don't consider many stage plays to be great. I could name a few. And as we speak, Lin-Manuel Miranda, being a first-time split playwright, is among the best. And I will, within a couple weeks, do a deep analysis of the entire play, beginning to end, speaking more than just the motifs because that's already been done before. I will speak about the music and pop culture as is, and how the music influences pop culture and not pop culture influencing the music. And you can be sure to wait for that video soon. Just remember, it's all subjective.
For the record, I'm done trying to make y'all comfortable. For the record, you ain't trying to grow, then it's done for you.